Hello everybody, and today we are going to be looking at Runeterra once again, but we're not going to be looking at the expeditions or play mode, or looking at some interesting combo. Today I'm just going to be looking at some of the meta decks that are here at this moment, and how you would probably counter some of these meta decks. So let's look at the first one. Burn Aggro. This is one of the decks that I use to rank up, but I don't like it because of how crazy it is. You usually get so close to winning, or you just have a bad hand. Like with Noxian Fever, get excited. You may get this, but you also may get your Crimson Disciple without your Imperial Demolitionist, which would be a terrible combo. If you just had Noxian Fever with Crimson Disciple, you're gonna have a big problem, because you need something that could allow you to make this guy survive damage. So how would you play this? You usually have a 1-drop of Precious Pet or Legion Scepter, sometimes Legion Rearguard if you're on the attack. These two are better if you're on the offense. Then on the second turn, you usually attack, then put down a Boom Crew Rookie, unless you're playing a control deck, then put down a Boom Crew Rookie, and then attack. A control deck would probably be with Piltover and Zon and Ionia, or Shadow Isles Freljord. You don't usually have to worry about Demacia or Noxus or Piltwater with a control deck. You're usually going to have those things as a option for mid-range or aggro decks, like how this one's Noxus and Piltover. Noxus and Piltover. Mostly Noxus, so means it's more of a control deck. If it was mostly Piltover, it'd probably be more of a aggro deck. If it was more Piltover, it'd probably be more of a control deck. Okay. So you're gonna want to get these guys out on turn 2. Probably a Legion Rearguard. No, Boom Crew Rookie. Or Legion Rearguard. Then you're going to want to get both of these guys out on the same turn, basically. Crimson Disciple on the opponent's turn, and then Imperial Demolitionist on your turn. Use Cast Salesman as a option for endgames, as well as an option to just get a little bit more damage so that you can finish it off with your Get Excited and Noxian Fevers. So what's the counter to this? So I've been looking at this for a while, so let me click done for here, and let me just look at some cards, okay, for you guys. The counter to aggro as one of the best decks in the game right now to get up the ranks, how would you counter that? I would use a option of Shadow Isles and Freljord, or Shadow Isles and Piltover. So let's look at these three. Okay. So we have a lot of combat tricks with Frostbite with Freljord, which means that they're not going to have a good chance at getting damage in really fast, because what aggro decks want to do is get that damage in really fast. Now we have those attack options, which gives damage in 2 damage or 1 damage, but that's not going to get the damage that you want. You usually want to attack with your big guys at the end to get a lot of damage in, so that you can get about 9 or 10 damage in with your attack spells. What Shadow Isles would do that would be very hard for you would be healing. Let's look at all the spells, because that's what we're really worried about. So spells, we got Thermogenic Beam, which will change and allow them to kill your units out pretty fast. Brittle Seal, which allows them to stop some of your attacks, or have a problem with your biggest creatures. Crawling Sensation gives you boxers. Absorb Souls, drains, which means that they get more health. Mark of the Isles, they're gonna kill more of your creatures. Entreat, they get their champion out, they get it out fast. Mystic Shot, Glimpse Beyond, they have more options for your creatures. They have Simsworth's Mat, Shatter, Haunting Relic, Vile Feast, Black Spear, all these guys, which would be a very hard thing to combat with your only aggro picks. How would you combat it? Well, there's really no way to do that. You would probably want in your hand to combat it a option to put Transfusion on one of your guys, because what you're going to want to do is counter it when they actually frostbite one of your guys. So you're going to put Transfusion on one of them to deal damage to another one. However, you have one Transfusion in the meta deck, so it's going to be very hard to find it, and it's going to be very hard to actually have it in your deck and be able to use it in the certain scenario. Usually they're going to frostbite you early game to get out their ash, or maybe they're going to frostbite at the end. With health things, they're just going to keep doing it while you least expect it. Usually they're going to do it by when they're at 10 health, when you have to get your stuff out, you're going to go in for one more damage, they get out that. We have no way of blocking that unless we have Noxian Fever and they have Grasp of the Undying. Grasp of the Undying, which will drain it from a unit, so if we deal 3 damage and kill that unit, they can't drain it. Okay, so that was Burn Aggro for you guys. These are the counters. I'm not really telling you guys how to play the deck. I'm just helping you a little bit with that, but I'm telling you how to counter the deck. Okay, let's look at the second deck. This is the deck that I really like, but really hate as well. Because, here's the thing. I got to my rank right now. I'm not very high, but I got to the rank right now using this deck. Okay, here we go. So this deck is going for attack, 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 attack. There is no defending. You will not defend. You will usually just attack. Furioria is there in the deck just to have as another challenger. Nothing else. Garen is going to be your win condition as well as Bright Steel Formation. The problem is, okay, so here's how you play the deck. Play out, you want a Fleet Feather Tracker in your hand with War Chefs. Because War Chefs will help you get more damage in, and Fleet Feather Tracker is a challenger at second round. If you put out War Chefs, then you're going to want to put out Loyal Badger Bear, then Grizzled Ranger, and then Garen. It's a Grizzled Ranger, maybe a Bannerment, then Garen, maybe a Bannerment, Crucia the Bold, Sistria the Bold, and then Bright Steel Formation for your endgame. It's very simple progress, very easy. You're going to get wins out of this deck, but there is a very easy way to counter it, and let's look at that right now. Because it has to do with attacking, and that's where you're going to do a lot of your combat. Sorry guys. You're not going to have any answers to elusives. So let's look at elusives. Elusives means that you can't be blocked. Here we go. Elusive. Can only be blocked by another elusive unit. In the deck, there is no other elusive unit. They're only going to be able to challenge it. And what you have with Ionia is usually an Ionia Piltover, or an Ionia with maybe Freljord. So you're going to have options to get your guys into higher health stats and get over the guys. Another problem with this deck is its inability to deal with Ruination. Kill all units. There's no reason to put out your Bright Steel Formation when they have a Ruination, but you're never going to know that if you always want to put out your Bright Steel Formation. So what you're going to want to do is actually very difficult. You're going to not want to put out your best card unless you know that they don't have a Ruination. You're going to want to have to keep cards in your hand, which is bad for this plan because it's going to be keep attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking. If they have a Ruination, you're most likely going to lose unless you kept a good card in your hand. Let's look at the third and then we're going to look at Heart of the Cards and Twisted Fate Ezreal as two different options. Okay, so here we go. Here is New Karma Royal Ezreal. The problem with this deck, it has no early game. Sure, you got Eye of the Dragon for your early game, but that's not really your early game. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're wanting an early game with some elusive units or something like that. This has no early game, which means the aggro deck will do very well at this. Or a deck that has an easier way of leveling up Ezreal early to get out your combo. Let's check out a different deck. So we have that deck, but we also have Twisted Fate Ezreal. Now this has a very fast way of getting your Ezreal leveled up with Make It Rain, as well as Thermogenic Beam, and Get Excited in Static Shock. You're going to want to Make It Rain, Static Shock, Make It Rain. That's going to be 3 targets, and 2 targets. So you're going to have about 8 targets, and that's how much you need to level up that. Ezreal. You're going to want Twisted Fate out if you need to get your Destiny card out. Maybe to stun an Ezreal, maybe to that. But once you get Ezreal leveled up, you're going to want to play Chump Whomp, 2 Chump Whomps, or maybe like a pick a card or something like that. Because it's going to be easy to get them killed. 2 damage for every card. Chump Whomp gives you 2 Mushroom Caps versus 1. 1 mana. 2 Mushroom Caps, that's 4. And then if you do damage to them with Mix This Up and Get Excited, that's even more damage. So very easy. New Karma Royal Ezreal is a little bit harder to deal with. And it's very long. You're going to wait till 10. You're going to get Karma out. Then you're going to have to get Ezreal out. Then you're going to want to get your Chump Whomp. You already want your Chump Whomp out to get the stuff in your hand, so that you can play it when you have Ezreal. Very long game stuff. You're going to be playing this as a control. You're not going to be playing this when you're tired. Anything like that. You're going to be playing this when you're very alert and ready to combat with anything. So that's this stuff. Now let's look at one of our last decks. I haven't looked at this deck. This deck is a card deck from one of my favorite YouTubers. It's called Heart of the Cards. At least that's what I call it. So basically what you're going to do is get Twisted Fate out, or Lee Sin. You're going to want to get Twisted Fate out, and you're going to want to salvage Deep Meditation, Pocket, Deep Meditation, and... Sorry guys, I haven't looked at this deck a lot. And You've Been Warned, as well as High Guardian. Then you're going to want to get Lee Sin out as one of your endgame options. Your Lee Sin is literally the endgame option. He's going to be the one who gets with this, the Lee Sin Dragon Rage, and it's going to be killing a lot of the other person's creatures. There is a counter, which is straight aggro. Again, straight aggro counters a lot of control decks. Because if you do straight aggro, and you have the good cards, you can deal with control sets very easily. So this was my video on the meta decks of now. Usually you're going to actually play Burn Aggro, because it's easy to play and you don't have to take a lot of thought. Demacia doesn't take a lot of thought either, but it's harder to play because it's a longer game. Karma Ezreal and Heart of the Cards is something you're going to want to play in Diamond or Plat, because it takes a lot more thought, but it's a lot easier to deal with, easier strategies. So I'll see you guys next time. Hope this helps.